Welcome to episode 58 of the Faces of the Future podcast. It's your boy Mills.
It's your boy Shan.
It's your boy Man Moose. What's good?
What's good with y'all, man? What's good with y'all? How y'all feeling today? How y'all feeling, man?
Happy Easter.
Happy Easter, my
Yeah,
G's.
happy Easter to everybody that celebrates Easter and everything that's going on. Y'all linking with family today or what? Y'all just chilling?
Chilling.
Yeah. Nah, my how do I say this? So I guess my grandmom's best friend. I consider her my grandmom, but like we call her something else just because she's So in Nigeria, there's like this term that they have for people. It's called alaji. It's basically someone who's visited the holy ground of Mecca. She's Muslim. It's her birthday today. That's the only reason why I was explaining that. But I call her Alaja. It's my Alaja's birthday today, so we're going to go and celebrate her birthday like later today. So
Well, happy birthday to your
Yeah,
Elijah.
happy birthday to her.
yeah, thanks, man. Appreciate it.
Got you. So, with that, because I know you said she's Muslim. Because I'm not familiar like with the whole like culture. Does she participate with you guys in like the Easter and all that stuff, or not really?
Not really. She don't have to. Like she don't have to, but because Easter kind of falls into a different realm of religion. Like for people who don't know, Easter's obviously when Jesus rose up on the third day after he got crucified, he got killed. The only reason why a lot of Muslims don't celebrate is because they don't think that Jesus is I don't want to say absolute prophet, but they don't think that he's the main prophet. Like they know of Jesus Christ, but they don't think that he is the savior, I guess.
So like, I got you. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Without going too much into it, but a lot of stuff's been going on. Let's turn to like the sports world and stuff like that because we've been paying attention. A lot of like stuff has been going on, and the biggest thing that was kind of funny to me, and I put in the group chat, was the KD versus Michael Rappaport, and well, it started because I guess Michael Rappaport he kind of went viral recently. Well, he's always viral for the stuff he says, but he went viral recently because Dave Portnoy and him were battling in I guess like a defamation of character suit or whatever it may be, talking about like I guess Dave Portnoy made shirts and fired Rappaport without finishing out the contract. It became a whole thing, and then when when Rappaport lost the case to Portnoy and Barstool Sports, Portnoy put out a video that basically giving a big fu to him and his lawyers, and he didn't like that, and then I guess it was the day later or something like that. KD slid into his DMs and started going crazy on him about like whatever. I don't know exactly what they were arguing about or what he said directly, but KD just started going crazy. And then Michael Rappaport took the screenshots of what KD said. He was calling every word in the book, whatever, being put it on the internet. And my biggest thing about it was, how is Rappaport gonna screenshot somebody talking shit to him when he's one of the biggest shit talkers in anywhere?
But no filter.
With no filter. So when you see that, how'd you guys react when you first saw it?
I was like, well, first of all, I'm like, damn, KD's going wild. Like KD was tripping, like talking about his wife and all that kind of stuff. And then, like you said, I'm like, well, Michael Rappaport does this all the time. So I thought it was kind of weird that he put it out there like that. You know what I mean? Because Michael Rappaport is known for just saying anything about people with no filter. Kind of the way KD was talking, to him in them DMs is how Rappaport be talking about people all the time on a regular basis, talking about people's wives and shit like that. So, I mean, I was like, all right, like what is the real point of this? But KD was in there going bananas.
Ridiculous.
You know? Yeah, going bananas. So I mean, it made KD look bad because he's already known for being soft, especially when it comes to people in the media saying shit about him. He's known to have rabbit ears and like hears everything and always talks about shit like that. So I thought the whole situation was just weird, but much expected from both of them.
I just thought it was weird that Michael Rappaport just put the conversation out there like that. That was the first I was like, okay, but why did you put this conversation out here? And then my second reaction was like, okay, so KD, you just sound mad sensitive right now, bro. Like it's like
always.
Yeah, and it wasn't even like a sensitivity where it was just like, okay, we understand it. It was just like you said you was gonna spit in his face. You came crazy at his wife, and it's like I guess like I understand where you're coming from. Michael Rappaport do be talking a lot of shit, but I think the difference between him and KD and Michael Rappaport is that at least he puts that out in the open. You know what I'm saying? Like if he gonna be open like that, if he's open in how he shit talks. So it's like someone gonna talk shit about him publicly. I get it. But KD is not that. The issue with KD is that KD be acting a certain way on the internet. Like he'll be acting funny or he'll be mad sensitive, but then you'll never really see how he really be getting off on people. Because I think it was Stephen A. Smith or someone else when they were explaining like KD was going in on them, like on somebody else, like a while back ago. And it's like KD be act like this, but nobody really be paying attention. And so now that you've seen it, it's like he be wilding in the group chats, he be wilding on the media, and it's like it's kind of childish, like very, very childish.
Go ahead.
He had a whole burner account at one point on Twitter. You know what I'm saying? So, like I said, rabbit ears, man.
But my thing is with this whole situation is because then like this same week a conversation sparked about Stephen A. Smith coming at Russell Westbrook and downplaying everything he did. So I think players should be able to come back at reporters for talking crazy about them, especially when it comes to like personal stuff. Like even Russell Westbrook's wife went on IG and gave Stephen A. like a piece in her mind because he said, you guys say all this stuff about us and you don't even know like what's really going on in their personal lives, and then you don't expect anybody to clap back. You feel me? So in that light, I kind of feel him. But like when it comes to KD, yeah, because he has them burner accounts and he's never really just straight up about how he says stuff. He kind of like behind closed doors about everything. You feel me? And then tries to put on a certain persona about he's this way, but really, he's really sensitive about everything. But I mean, Michael Rappaport, I mean, he has it coming for him. I mean, when you put yourself out there that much and talking about so many different people, it's only a matter of time before people just start coming crazy at you. But
yeah, I think like, I mean, the Russell Westbrook thing, I think that was blown out of proportion. I really honestly do, because at least with Stephen A. Smith, it was. But I think that it was blown out of proportion.
How so though? Like, what was blown out of proportion about it?
Like, my thing is that then this is where you have to be. This is where you have to be partial about it, right? I don't think Stephen A. Smith has legitimately said anything bad about Russell Westbrook in terms of his talent. I don't think he's ever said that. Nobody's ever not said that Russell Westbrook is not talented. He's not any of that. But I think where the problem is that, and I think like Stephen A. Smith had a fair assessment of this. It's like, okay, my thing is we already know you're good. Like we already have established like you are arguably probably like the most talented athletic point guard ever. So it's like at this point, it's like the LeBron MVP argument. It's like, okay, we get it. Now what's next? You know what I'm saying? And it's like for people are looking at Russell Westbrook, it's like nobody's saying he's not gonna make it to the Hall of Fame. But we want to put him in such a light where it's like, yo, like Russell Westbrook is that nigga. And for him to get just one chip, we'll be able to do that. Like now, because now the argument's like you had KD, you had James Harden, you've had James Harden twice. You know what I'm saying? Now you have Bradley Beal and you're not winning. So it's like people are looking at it as like, okay, yeah, you're so talented, but it's like, why aren't you winning? Granted, it's not all his fault. I understand that, but it's like for him to sit here and be like, oh, Stephen A. Smith is coming crazy at him. I don't think Stephen A. Smith is going to come crazy at him if you really listen to what he's saying. Someone like Colin Cowherd, I get it. That's 100% fair. But Stephen A. Smith,
I think it's more so because they felt like they just downplay his accomplishments. You feel me? Like every time he does something, Stephen A. will come over to Butto. It's like, yeah, you did this, but you ain't do this, this, and this. Like it's like, why don't you just put him in the same light as if somebody else were to break a record or whatever it may be? That's pretty much what they were saying. Like every time he does something good, Stephen A. has something bad to say.
Yeah, the guys in the media definitely had their picks about who they like and who they don't like. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think they do. It's just I think that it's just my thing is that it goes back to the thing of Derrick Rose, right? We knew how great Derrick Rose was. If Derrick Rose won that chip when he was supposed to win that chip, it's like, damn, like we look at Derrick Rose a completely different animal. You know what I'm saying? Like, I guess like for me, the way I look at it is that when you see somebody who has like a certain level of talent and they start winning championships, you start to change the league a little bit. And the way Westbrook plays, we want, like, for me, I would want him to play. I would want him to be like someone like the face of the league in terms of how you playing 100%, going all out every single night. You know what I mean? Like the game is now just 3-and-D basically. And it's like for me to see Russell Westbrook play in such a way, he gets a chip playing just the way that he's accustomed to playing, it definitely would change the dynamic of the game. And it's just like, that would be great to see, because it's like niggas just think they can have a jump shot and they'll be all right, but that's not how life goes all the time, you know? And it's
gonna be hard for Russ to win a chip ever with the way he plays.
Yeah. It's
I disagree.
He's such a ball dominant player.
Bro, he so I don't get me wrong. I love his effort, 24/7, 100 miles per hour. But sometimes he's too erratic, and sometimes I think he takes wild shots. And I think in crunch time, I think it gets worse and worse down crunch time sometimes. I mean, I think we've seen that in the playoffs the last couple of years. Don't get me wrong, a triple-double for a season, all that is like super impressive. Like I can't like put into words how hard that is, but I think it's going to be hard for him to win a championship with the way he plays.
I think he has to. I think if he's going to win a chip, I mean, granted, it's late in his career now, but if I was him or if I was people around him, I would basically tell him don't change the way you play, but change, I guess, change the timing of how, like, the timing of your style of play. It's like, don't be too ball dominant all the time.
It's
Like,
hard
if
for a
you,
player like him.
Bro, that's how his career is. You can't ask a player like that to change at this point in his career, bro. I mean, clearly what he's been doing hasn't worked.
yeah, but I'm not saying change his game. I'm not saying change his game completely, but it's like, say, I'm just hypothetically speaking. I'm not saying this is really basketball, but say like I would consider him like a 2.5/3 quarter player, right? Where he plays crazy for 3 quarters, right?
Yeah.
Fourth quarter, you got someone like Bradley Beal. All right, let Bradley Beal cook up. Like, I get it, you want to have that moment, but it's like you also got to understand where your weaknesses is at. And that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying change. I'm not saying change his game,
You're
but
saying
I'm
like
saying
alter it
yeah,
a
like
little.
alter it. Yeah, like adjust it. It's like LeBron paces himself. Like LeBron averages like 20 some every single game. You know what I'm saying? Pace yourself. Like, we're not saying you playing bad, but you could definitely get a triple double in 3 quarters. You got 20, 20, and 20 in like 3 quarters. So it's like you could figure it out.
People
That's
have
I
been
guess that's
saying
what I'm
that
trying to
about
tell
his game for a long time, and he's never done that. And OKC with the
You're right.
first time with the big three, with when he had Paul George in him, he's always been like that. Like you
Yeah.
said, he should be definitely deferring to a Bradley Beal coming down the stretch, or deferring to a KD or Paul George or James Harden, but he's never done it.
Do you think he's a number one?
A
Or do you
number
think he should
one.
be no, I'm talking about, do you think he's like a number one option on that team? Or do you think
No,
for a championship team?
I don't think you can win with him as your number one option.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I don't think that's been proven already thus far in his career.
No matter how much he does, I just don't think it's possible. And since we're talking about
He
this,
doesn't think that way, though. I just want to
yeah,
say he doesn't think
yeah,
that way. He thinks he's
yeah.
a one.
yeah,
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
not for sure.
He's not. But I just want to, before we close out this segment about like the relationship between like reporters and like athletes, what do you think the dynamic between reporters and athletes should be? Do you think it should athletes and reporters be able to go back and forth, tick for tack, or do you think they should be held like under different lights because a reporter's job is to basically report and talk about the things that are going on, as opposed to athletes' job is to pretty much do what they do in their profession?
I understand it from a journalistic perspective, but a lot of times I think these guys get really, really frustrated about some of the stories that are written about them that aren't
Mhm.
true and are factless. And like some stories come out of total left field. Reporters make up anything for headlines and for ratings and to get more traffic on their platform. So I mean, I like the fact that the players can go back at them. It's only up to a certain extent. I feel they can't really say what they really, really want to say a lot of the times, even though sometimes they do have those tips back and forth. But I think they should be allowed to express their opinions just as the reporters can put out any kind of story saying anything and have no facts or anything.
Yeah, I agree because it's like what you got to understand is that like we know this. It's like as athletes, you're not going to be able to give everybody the whole story without either coming off at your teammates, coming off at your family. And there's certain things you want to protect. You always want to protect your teammates. You always want to protect your family. You always want to protect yourself and the integrity of the place you work at. You get what I'm saying? So it's like there are times, just like even in the music business, it's like some places just don't like you and they're just gonna make that narrative. I always use the example all the time. Wale's a prime example. Niggas just don't like Wale. Like reporters just don't like Wale. And they write all types of stuff about him. And he can't do anything about it because he's just not liked there. When you go to sports, Colin Cowherd doesn't like Baker Mayfield. He just doesn't. Straight up. You know what I'm saying? He just doesn't like Russell Westbrook. He doesn't like athletic point guards. He just doesn't like them. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's cool for you to be able to go back and forth. You be able to like respond or say something, but it's like at the same time, it's like one, it's their job to bring in ratings.
Mm-hmm.
Russell Westbrook is someone that brings in ratings to the TV. You know, athletic point guards always bring it in because they're athletic. They play a certain way. So it's like depending on the narrative, that's how they're just gonna talk about you. It's just, and so I mean, I agree with you, Shannon. Like you should be able to say something to a certain extent. You don't need to be wilding, you know what I
Right.
mean? But it's like
Right.
you have to like, you kind of have to understand like what the media is there to do. You know what I'm saying? It's like, that's how you should be able to approach it.
Yeah, I agree, and I mean, I can only imagine how frustrated these players get. Like you said, like for example, like a Baker Mayfield, who Colin Cowherd is always talking about. I can't imagine being at home and seeing like myself get criticized for every little thing on TV day after day after day. I can only imagine if that drains you eventually, and that gets frustrating. So,
Yeah.
you feel bad for the athletes because now there's so many sports platforms
Yeah.
that can talk about you. So, I mean, I'm sure it gets very exhausting. I'm sure.
And it's not even just that. It's more so from the standpoint of like sometimes they just be talking BS, and it's not
Yeah.
like, and don't even be like I said, it don't even it's not even your fault all the time. It's like real quick. I feel like I think the people that get the most flag outside of LeBron's games, like position wise in sports, is the quarterback. Is either the quarterback or the point guard.
Yeah.
Always. And it's just like for them, it's always been a struggle. It's like because they're the natural, like they're the media based leaders of every sports team. You know what
Mm-hmm.
I'm saying? So it's like having someone like Russell Westbrook who's a little bit emotional when he plays. You know what I'm saying? Or you have someone like Baker Mayfield who has a likable personality. It gets irritating to people. Like I genuinely feel bad for Baker Mayfield and Westbrook because like it really don't be their fault. But what can you do?
I don't feel bad for Baker, but that's neither here nor there.
You say you don't feel
Okay.
bad for Baker?
Oh gosh, I don't want to have this conversation.
Why?
I just don't.
What is the? I mean,
I just
how
don't.
do
why?
you feel bad about for Baker then, dude?
I feel bad. I feel bad for Baker because he came to a losing franchise. He had 4 different head coaches who really couldn't coach, and he had to deal with them. I'm not saying that everything wasn't his fault. Yeah, he throws picks,
He has a
and
great team around him. I don't
yeah, he
feel
had a
bad
great
for
team.
him at all.
He has a great team, but sometimes it's like you can't. It's like if you were to first join the league, even if you have a great team, you still not going to be able to be the person that you're supposed to be. You see now that he has a decent head coach who has a decent head on his shoulders. You see how the game is simple. Like he simplified the game for himself. Like you can't come into the league in a faster paced league. You know what I'm saying? Whether or not you have a good or bad team, and if you don't have a coach that can either simplify it for you in such a way where you get it, it's not going to be good for you unless you're already that good. Unless you're like Joe Burrow or Trevor Lawrence or someone like that. Like you need people to slow the game down for you. And I think Baker needed that. And he came into chaos. You know what I'm saying? So it's like it's not 100% his fault whether or not he had a good team or not. So
Yeah, I mean, I still don't feel bad for him. He's just a regular NFL quarterback to me. You know what I'm saying? I mean, I don't think that's any reason to feel bad. There's a lot of guys that go into chaotic situations. You know what I mean? That's the life of an NFL quarterback when you're with a rebuilding franchise. Not that I dislike him, but it's just Baker Mayfield.
I
Feel what I'm
feel
saying?
where both of y'all are coming from. To be honest, like I understand what you're saying, Moose, but like it's the same thing with what Shan said is that that's what you're coming into as a start. If you're a first round draft, but you coming into a program most likely that's rebuilding, so it's the growing pains that come with it, and especially when you're an athlete that like flaunts himself the way and is braggadocious the way Baker Mayfield is.
Exactly.
Like
Exactly,
people are just
bro.
waiting. It's the same thing with Cam Newton. Like he's a braggadocious guy, so people are just waiting for the moment they could just bash him about something, and then they
Mm-hmm.
haven't stopped since. You feel me? So I mean, that is what it is. But let's get into some MLB news. Shannon, if you want to tell us what was going on with the All-Star game and how they're moving it from Atlanta to wherever I think it was LA.
Yeah, they're going to move it to Dodger Stadium. So the MLB All-Star game is supposed to be in Atlanta. Actually, they were going to do their MLB draft or same weekend. Georgia came out and changed their voting laws this past week. So the MLB moved the game from Atlanta, saying because they support voter rights and they feel like a lot of the laws are going to hinder African American and people of color when it comes to voting, like closing the voting polls at a certain time, making them in certain places where people can't really get to, making the times where people are getting off work and people go after work to vote. Voting is till like 8 o'clock or whatever time in the night, and they're going to cut it off at like 5 o'clock. This is all in light of the recent election we just had. You know, there was a lot of controversy over the way that the voting went down in Georgia. So now we're seeing some of those laws change, and they're facing a lot of backlash nationally for it. So the MLB took their game and moved it, which is going to hurt the city of Atlanta.
Let me ask you this: I thought so. When we were giving like Georgia all the praise, like or whatever, when people were giving Georgia praise for what happened during the election, like how they did what they had to do when it came to like the voters, and I think didn't they have a second vote after that to a recount or something like that. So when people were giving praise about that, what was that all about? Because I'm like, that's what I'm like a little confused about. They were giving him all this praise, and now they're taking something away because they were suppressing voting at the time, or
basically, I think from what I understand from the situation, there was a lot of people who weren't registered to vote, and there were people who didn't know they could vote. So that's where Stacey Abrams came in, where she was registering new people to vote. She was going out of her way to make sure people were registered to vote, because like don't quote me on this, I don't remember off the top of my head, but if you're a felon in certain situations, you're allowed to vote. So it's not. So the thing is, a lot of people just assume if you're a felon, if you're a criminal, you can't vote. But there are certain laws in places in certain states where if you meet certain requirements, you are able to vote. And so I think the reality was that because there were so many new registered voters and people came out to vote, and the polling, obviously you had the polling locations open later, things of that nature. What ended up happening now is that a lot of the people who were in Georgia, which is a primarily red state, they changed the laws because they were just like, yeah, we don't want this to happen no more, because most of these people, we don't know how they came in and started voting. We don't know where they came from. So they assumed that the votes were, false or fake votes and things of that nature. So I guess that's why like they're trying to take it away. They're trying to restrict it, I guess.
That makes sense now. Do you think the MLB is in the right for doing that, for moving the All-Star game away from Atlanta?
What I think it has to do is for the MLB, they're trying to appeal to more demographics of people, right? Because Major League Baseball isn't really watched by people that look like us. You know what I'm saying? So they put people in place like Ken Griffey Jr. to try and bring more Black people on. So I think this for them is a good way to say to Black folks, listen, we don't support what's going on in a state that's majority populated by you guys, and we are opposing to this law that is really going to affect Black people. So I think that's the main reason why they're like, all right, we got to get ahead of the situation, and it'll be a bad look for us to have an All-Star game in our draft in this city when they have things going on there like that.
And you got to also understand that it's like a lot of the people, I'm not saying like a lot of the people that make up their league, just like a lot of other sports, it's a lot of minorities. You get what I'm saying? A lot of their big people that make them a lot of money, in my opinion, I think they are minority people. They have a very dominant Spanish, Black, dark Spanish, White people that play. And for you to sit here, like you said, Shannon, for them to sit there and just say, yeah, we're still going to keep it here, it looks away. You know what I mean? And I think that's like I think that's what a lot of sports are doing. Well, at least in the US, where it's like they're trying to, appeal to the African American demographic because we spend hella money. You know what I mean? Like we spend a lot of money and we support the athletes that we feel connected to. And I think that that's what the MLB is trying to do, because MLB, they need, I don't want to say they need a revamp, but I think they need more diversity in terms of like just people out there. Like we only know like the Bryce Harpers, things of that nature. And it's like we don't know like any famous Black baseball players. And the fact that we only named Ken Griffey Jr., you know what I mean?
Like Mookie Betts.
That's usually what I mean. That's a problem. Like we always refer back to a Ken Griffey Jr. There's not like a Ken Griffey Jr. of this generation. And I think that's a problem, So
yeah, they're definitely trying to make changes to the league. Like I said, appeal more to Black people. Like they just now recognize the Negro League as a professional league,
which is crazy.
So they're just now like getting all those Negro League stats to be like comparable to the MLB stats to bring it all together as one.
They should have been.
It's 2021, and they just now are recognizing the Negro Leagues as a professional league. And we all know some of the best baseball players ever only played in the Negro Leagues.
Yeah.
So it'll be nice for them to finally get the recognition that they deserve, and hopefully you see a lot of those guys going to the Hall of Fame.
I wanted to ask you guys this: like, why do you think sports like baseball and like golf or tennis aren't like appealing to our demographic of people?
I know. Pick me, coach. Pick me. Pick me.
Oh,
pick
boy.
me, coach.
Go ahead.
Pick me, coach. It's because they weren't like a lot of these sports weren't based off of. They weren't, in my opinion. I think okay. I'll take golf. I think golf wasn't a sport that was originally made for the demographic of Black people when it was made. I think golf is originally for rich white people. It's like tennis. Tennis is for rich white people. You know what I mean? Those are the demographic of people that you see. Baseball, you see just your typical American Yankee, country loving people at those games. You know what I'm saying? It's America's pastime. You know, and so it's like most of those sports were based in Africa. Like it was based in, and it was based in the standpoint of trying to exclude African Americans in the first place. That's why the Negro Leagues were never really accepted. You know what I mean? Same thing with golf. It's a type of sport where it's like it's more about form, or it's more about I guess what I'm trying to say is that it's a specific sport, that a specific niche that white people made for themselves. That's why when you see golf, for example, everybody says the best business deals are made on the golf course. You know what I mean? Like most of the rich white people you see going to Wimbledon. You know, it's one of those things where it's a class thing. That's what it is. Thank you. I was talking my thoughts out. It's a class thing. And that's why I think that it wasn't. That's why, like, I guess they're trying to bring out the demographic now, because they're starting to realize that's like upper middle class. There's upper middle class African Americans. There's also rich African Americans as well. So it's like they're trying to remove, I guess, the class barriers from their sports now. I guess I don't know if that makes sense. I mean, think about it. Like outside, when you look at tennis, it's like you have is it Coco?
Coco Golf.
Yeah. Okay, good. Coco Golf. You have Naomi Osaka. You obviously have Serena and Venus, you know what I mean? And so it's like they run women's sports. You know what I'm saying? And it's like now, like with tennis, it's obviously it's a little nichey, but it's like there's probably I believe that there's probably gonna be a black tennis player coming up soon, just because it's like we've already seen enough of the is it Djokovic? I think so, yeah. Djokovic, and his era. So it's like those.
When's the next Arthur Ashe coming through? That's what I'm waiting on. Like
exactly.
I need something. Like I said, the women they doing their thing over there. But even then, when it comes to having those select, like you obviously, so like tennis has a big, however many players are considered professional. You feel me? It's probably, the list goes on, thousands of probably people considered professional tennis. But then you have like those select 4 that you just named are African American women or black women, not even African black women. But if you look at the rest of the demographic, that's a small percentage of what the larger population is. You feel me? So what I'm saying is, how do we get it to the point where how do the sports themselves get it to the point where that percentage increases?
A lot of people, I mean, ain't no tennis courts in the hood. You know what I'm saying? So I feel like a lot of people doesn't appeal to them because they don't play it. You know, Serena and Venus had the ability to have their father put them in tennis. Same with Coco Golf. Same with Naomi Osaka. And it's the same with golf. Golf is an expensive sport, and there ain't no golf courses in the hood.
But baseball, baseball's a sport that I think a lot of black people play.
Baseball is a sport that a lot of black people play for sure, but I don't think
cheap.
And I also think that
my thing is, if it's that cheap and that many people play, how come you don't see more and more of them like climbing the ladder? Because I know there's probably plenty of black people that are good at playing baseball.
Because it goes, in my opinion, it goes back to the thing of what media presents. It's like in media, you get the girls, you get the money, you get the endorsements from basketball, you get the endorsements from football. You don't, but people don't know about baseball. You know what I'm saying?
Black people don't know. Bread.
No, you get the most bread, but do people know that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I think most of their money is all guaranteed. You know what I'm saying?
It is all guaranteed.
Yeah, and most people don't know that because that's not what we're told. When we're told, you see a basketball court. You know, when we go to the hood, you see a basketball court. You don't see a tennis court. You don't see any of these. That's why I said it's more of a class thing, because it's like for you to learn how to pick up golf, you need time, you need money. 2 things that a lot of African Americans don't really have a lot of the time because they're busy trying to make ends meet. They're busy trying to do different things. You could pick up a basketball anywhere. Anybody can bring basketballs. Nobody's just going to give you a rack of golf clubs because shit is expensive. Yeah. Like even just for you to get your own personal set, it costs like $300, $400, $500. You know what I'm saying? So it's like for me, I think it ends up being a class thing because it's like you only see tennis courts in a lot more higher social economic areas. And that's really just about it. If we remove the class barriers, what I said, like you put like a tennis court, for example, in the hood. I'm not saying example wise, you put a tennis court in the hood. You know what I'm saying? You offer free tennis lessons. It's possible for people to pick up tennis. You know what I'm saying? If you like Top Golf, for example, like they offer golf lessons. You know,
Never
you
knew
can
that.
offer golf lessons to people. It People may pick up golf, so it's like you got to find ways of removing the class barrier from sports.
And I think another thing that goes into the part, yeah, MLB money is guaranteed, but I think a lot of black folks see you could be in the league making money by the time you're 19. You can go to the G League now. You could be in the NFL by the time you're 21. It doesn't happen like that in baseball. You do a couple of years of college or whatever maybe, then you got to go to the minors for a couple of years before you get that big check. So I think that has a lot
How
to
was
do with
that
it as
paying the
well.
minors? How was that paying the minors?
It's
Is it
not
like
good.
not
It's
good?
not good at all. They get like $400 a week in some cases. You
Damn.
know, besides the top players, they're not paid top dollar like that.
You go,
Versus
does it go
go into
single
the
A?
league at 18. Yeah, single
Oh,
A, double A, triple A. Yeah,
got you. My 5 minute cut you off. That's my bad.
yeah, because that's what I'm saying. Like, so you can either take that route or you can take the route of being 19, 18, or 19 years old and making a couple million in the NBA already. Which
Let me,
one is more appealing to you?
let me ask y'all
That's
this:
true.
if y'all could go back to when we first started playing sports, since we all play sports, and redo it all, which sport would you try to compete at and try to make money?
For me, it would be
I'm going
tennis. For me, it would be tennis.
soccer. I'm doing soccer or I'm doing baseball.
I think I would try to play like soccer or something like that, like soccer, and then because tennis, I feel like tennis is too. It's a little too
Tennis
much.
is fun.
And I'll
Tennis
play
is
golf.
fun.
I'll play golf.
And it's one-on-one. Tennis is one-on-one. I like that.
Yeah.
I'll probably play
Nah,
golf or soccer or something.
I
And you can
think
make a
soccer.
lot of endorsement money in tennis and shit.
Yeah,
No,
I
that's
just would have picked.
facts.
I would have picked soccer because it's easier for you to. There's so many leagues and there's so many minor leagues. You can make a living off of being a soccer player. Like you could still be you could be a semi-professional and still make good money. You know, you could be a professional and still make good money. You could go overseas, be a semi-professional and make good money. Like there's so many different ways. I would have stuck. I would have done soccer. I probably would have went back home and
Because
played
there's
soccer
way more
there.
leagues in soccer too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's worldwide. But let's get into the Face of the Future song of the day, presented by MBT. Check us out on Instagram at MBT underscore the 1%, on Twitter at MBT the Future, and check out all our video content at MBT Face of the Future on YouTube. The song of the day comes from this artist named Cheque. I've been coming across a lot of up and coming artists on my playlist on Apple Music. The song Zoom, it comes from his Razor EP. And once again, this is Cheque Zoom. Again, that was Cheque, his single Zoom off his project Razor. So let's just get back into some of the stuff and recap what's been going on with Deshaun Watson, because more news broke out. And another masseuse that's undisclosed. I guess she didn't even file charges and like that, but she had like she reported what went on with him, saying that he has this thing for going to like different massage therapists, and clearly has this thing that's going.
Yeah.
And she basically detailed her experience about massaging him and how he doesn't request having a massage. He uses his towel, and then what she said was very uncomfortable. And his whole thing is like when he starts like asking him massage, he makes it a point that they massage his groin areas when he doesn't have a towel on, which is crazy to me. It definitely would make somebody feel uncomfortable.
Mm-hmm.
And my thing is, do you guys still believe this image that Deshaun Watson had prior to these allegations that are happening towards him? Remember where he had this, the squeaky clean image. Nothing was going on in college. You couldn't find any background history about it. But now all these stories are starting to unfold, and more information is coming out. How are your views now as opposed to last week when we talked about it, or the week before when we talked about it?
It's getting a little murky for him. You know what I mean? It's getting a little murky. I mean, it's not looking good.
He rubbed the body. He said
clearly, he has an issue. I don't want to call it an issue, but he has clearly like a thing for a massage therapist. And my first thought is, dog, you make $100 million. Why don't you have like somebody coming to your crib or something like that, or somebody that could be on the same type time? Like, why are you just going after random women like that? If that's true, right? I mean, because now I think the last time we were at like 14, now we're at the 21. With this new one now is 22, and it's like, it's not looking good. A lot of the stories are similar, so clearly, if it's true, he has a clear pattern, and he has a clear way that he goes about it. But then you had 18 masseuses come out and say that he never did anything like that to them. But I'm like, dog, like how many massage therapists are you seeing? Like, because you had
That's
18
my
coming out to
question.
support you. You got 22 coming out against you.
They said it was a lot. They said it was a lot.
It's like, what is going on? So right now it looks bad. It's not a good look because of all the allegations. It's never going to be a good look until we find out all the facts. It's not a good look.
It don't look good, but at the same time, it's like, this sounds like a weird question, but what do you mean by massage the groin area? Because not like if you say, all right, I want my penis massaged. Okay, you know what? Fine, that's fair. But if you're saying groin area, your groin is not just your penis and your testicles. Like you could still have your groin massaged and still, yeah. Like that's why I'm saying it's like unless you ask for,
come on,
if
bro.
they're asking for a happy ending, if he's
Come
asking for
on,
a happy ending, okay, I get it.
They're saying that he makes it a valid point. He says, I don't want the massage sheet. I don't want the sheet that goes around you. I want a towel. And if you get erect in the towel, that joint's coming off.
Yeah, bro.
That joint's coming off.
Come on, so we know exactly why this man saying he want his groin, bro.
Then for you to say you want to pay for extra hour just to have your groin area massage, like come on now.
Come on, bro.
See that? Oh, I didn't see that. Oh yeah, nah.
Yeah, bro.
Oh nah, that nigga weird.
He want his groin joint because that shit's getting him aroused because that's right by your area.
And my thing is, if these people are feeling uncomfortable, right? And like Shannon said, you have millions, hundreds of millions of dollars, whatever it may be. You could literally find somebody that do exactly what you want for you, most likely. And come to your crib and it not be an issue.
It's seeming very, very predatorial for him.
Yeah, bro. And my thing is that, like, why do you have 40 or 50 different massage therapists?
That's where that was the question I had.
That's not funny, but that shit makes me laugh a little bit.
Like, why do you have 40? I've never heard of that in my life. Most of the people, like, even if you're an athlete, you have a person that you go to, like, that's your person, whether it's a trainer, therapist, whatever it may be, because they know your body. You feel me? And you see you have that relationship with them. But you're going from person to person. That doesn't look good at all.
And then if it comes out to be true that what they're saying is that he's like offering people money, deleting IG messages. It's going to come out. It's going to come out and be real, real, real bad if what these women are saying is true. And if what these women are saying is true, he's going to lose all of his bread. Because once he goes in the commissioner's exempt list, the Houston Texans don't have to pay him. They don't have to pay him. So he'll lose out on that $100 million contract.
And because Toby made a valid point about this 2 episodes ago when we first talked about this, because even though we're shining the spotlight on Deshaun Watson, we have to shine a spotlight on the organization because they definitely knew about all this going on.
Sell this shit. I don't give two. I know exactly what them. Excuse my language. Them motherfuckers need to sell that team ASAP. I don't care about none of that. Like at this point, like it look weird. It do, and it's like for me, my whole thing is about integrity in the league. Integrity in the league. You had a black quarterback. Yeah, let's say you wanted to protect him, but at the same time, is you in a league where motherfuckers be beating on women. The league don't say nothing. News don't say nothing. You have a league where people be doing whatever drugs, all this nonsense. Y'all need to have a sense of integrity. If y'all knew this, y'all should have addressed it ahead of time. Now y'all got 40, 50 different women. We don't know who to believe. And for me, it's annoying because it's like, there's no. My biggest problem with the league is that there's no general bylaws of what y'all need to tolerate and what y'all don't tolerate. And it's like now you have a situation where you have 41 different massage therapists, apparently massage therapists, who are in here convoluting a situation that the NFL has always been dealing with, which is sexual violence and domestic violence. So now you're in a situation where it's like, if the league doesn't handle it properly, well, that's going to give leeway for other people to do whatever they want. Because now you can't sit here and now suspend the next person that goes and gets accused of sexual assault or kick them out the league when you don't do that to Deshaun Watson. But Deshaun Watson brings the money to the league. So what are you going to do? The owner should have thought about this, but they don't. They think about their pockets. So you know what you need to do? Everybody needs to get cut the fuck off.
Yeah.
The league got to move swiftly on this because the league, it doesn't matter what happens legally. The league has their own rules, so they can pretty much with this do whatever they want to do or whatever they feel is necessary. If they wanted to suspend Deshaun Watson for whatever the case may be, they can do that. Doesn't matter what happens to him legally. I think they gotta move. They gotta do their due diligence themselves, and they gotta make a decision about this ASAP.
So
yeah, no, because I was going to say someone had reported to the Houston Police Department. They filed a complaint to the Houston Police Department. So it's like it's becoming like a a police matter at this point. So for
Wait,
me, it's like
who filed something?
they said that I think one of the massage therapists had filed one. So
I think the latest one her name is going to come out soon here. So
I think she's the one that gave the most detail about like what actually went down, and that's why it became an even bigger ordeal. And yeah, the messages being deleted and all that stuff is wild to me. It just makes him look even more guilty. But I got to ask y'all this about it. So let's give it because this thing's gonna probably go on for another 6 months to a year when it comes to like just figuring things out. In my opinion, with the information, the league, and then the trial, whatever it may be. What do you think the outcome is going to be? If you were to guess right now, based on what you know right now, if you were to guess, do you think Deshaun's going to get suspended from the league? Do you think he's going to still be able to play and the owner's going to get suspended? Do you think it's going to come out that none of this is true? Like, what do you guys think? I need some predictions.
I hate to say it, but I think it's probably going to end up bad for Deshaun Watson. Just because of the way it's going right now, it's not looking good. Right now, it's not looking good. So I'm going to say he'll probably end up getting suspended for it. And I hate to say that because we don't know all the facts. I really don't like feeling that way, but if I'm keeping it 100, it's not looking good for him.
Because my thoughts are this.
I don't know, bro.
I would say he would get the Ray Rice treatment, but he's Deshaun Watson.
He's not getting the Ray Rice treatment, bro.
If it's true, if all this is true,
but my thing is,
yes, he will. If this is
true, he's out here sexually
assaulting.
I'm telling you, he's not
sexually
getting
assaulting women in today's day and age, bro. The league is not going to let him be in the league, bro. They are not. Sexually assaulting over 20 women.
Yeah.
They're not going to let him be in the league, bro. They are not.
AB has 2, 3, 4 criminal trials going on. That nigga came in and won a ring. So you really think
if it comes out for that to be true, you think he's going to be playing in the league still?
They gave him an 8-game suspension. So at this point, it's like we gave you the suspension, we moving on. So at this point,
but they gave him a suspension because they did their due diligence themselves, so they must know that whatever that situation was, it ain't going. You know, it's not going to come to fruition, whatever the case may be.
So what do you think the league gonna do if they give him like before because they're probably gonna try to lay down the law before the season starts. All right, this is what we're doing until this thing blows over. Do you think they're gonna suspend him?
Oh yeah,
the season.
If it keeps getting worse and worse, they'll give him the 4-game treatment just to see what's happening before, because they have to because of their perception, especially in today's day and age with the sexual assault. You cannot have a quarterback in your league who's the face of one of your franchises having allegations against him like that. You can't.
I just don't know because.
But I feel y'all. But at the same time, I don't know if the NFL will care because NFL is so powerful. But I don't know. I'm thinking know
because he's the face of a Texas. Well, not just the NFL franchise, but a franchise that's in Texas, the mecca of football. You feel me? Mm-hmm. And things are just different down there. No matter what level you're on. In terms of like when it comes to money, revenue, and the game of football, like they just move different when it comes to.
I agree.
You feel me? So it's like I don't know if it's gonna get to a predicament where the owners doing because he's obviously at war with the owners in the organization there. So the owners get to a predicament now where they have all the leverage against Deshaun, right? And then they work out a deal with the league. Like, look, we're gonna suspend him for this, but he's our star quarterback, so he still needs to be playing.
That'd be a shame.
I know, as crazy as it sounds, like I'm not saying I agree with it, but I'm saying. I don't put anything like that past the Houston Texans organization, especially with them going on with doing this when he's just trying to get out of his contract. So I don't put nothing past them.
I don't either. Yeah. I just think that morally and ethically, that'll look horrible.
I mean, there's a lot of things that have looked horrible this week, and people just
like what?
A lot of different things. You got Quavo and Sweetie.
So let's talk about that then. Let's talk about Quavo and Sweetie and before we get to the whole video situation, let's get to the Justin the Boy interview. So that kind of like sparked the whole situation. So what was it? Do you remember the question that he asked on the thing that kind of like went viral? And then
he basically asked her, if your man is treating you well, would you give him a threesome? Mm-hmm. And she was like, she basically said, I would give my boyfriend the honor of picking the man who's about to take me down with you, essentially.
Okay.
And everybody in front of Justin Combs, who was her ex-boyfriend.
So let me ask you this. Y'all in the shit, y'all in a relationship, and your girl asks you to go on her ex's podcast to talk about stuff like this. First of all, you let that happen.
No, and I'm going to question. This has been my thing, yo. As a boyfriend, if you don't let me rob your ex boyfriend, you don't really love me. I should be able to rob your ex boyfriend, and if I can't, it's a problem.
What you mean? You explain.
What you
explain
want to
that.
rob me for? Why does that even have to be a thing, bro?
To show that
I
she don't
feel like,
care.
what the fuck am I going to, hey, yo, babe, let me rob your ex-boyfriend. She going to be like, what the fuck you want to do that
Oh, you just
for?
wanted to say yes, maybe not literally, but you wanted to be, all right, I don't care.
Yeah, it's a situation of like you just shouldn't care, you know, like, and that's my thing. Quavo, if I'm sweetie, girls should not girls should not put themselves in a situation where their boyfriend gonna get mad. Like you gonna go on your ex's show, and you get screened the questions ahead of time about a threesome in front of your ex boyfriend. Oh nah, if I'm Quavo, I'm raising hell.
That's my thing. That's my thing. If they knew and she still approved, because okay, let your girl go on a show, whatever it may be, for her bag that pertains to her bag when she's doing her business. Okay, you have that conversation. You let her know, all right, I don't agree with this, but if I'm compromising and all you do is for your brand, whatever it may be, we have to screen what's being said, what's not, because you're not just gonna be talking about anything on that show, especially with your exes on there.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing. Two, if my girl like approves of that or whatever, maybe like that, those conversations with like I'll feel away for sure.
What I gotta be talking about that shit for?
Yeah, like what you gotta be talking about that stuff for it. But then on another thing, I don't know if I'll go to the extent of jumping the board that had the show.
Something else happened. That's the thing. This is why the internet people making no sense. They think that they be jumping to conclusion from conclusion. Something happened. Something happened.
What do you think? What do you think happened?
Words must have been exchanged somehow, at least. At the very least.
Justin must have said something, or something else must have happened. I'm not jumping to no conclusions.
He might have said like, "Yeah, nigga, I can still smash your bitch today if I wanted to." And Quavo might have got pissed off.
Justin LeBoy probably said something, and that's why he got jumped.
Saying. She probably said some slick shit to him.
But my thing is Justin LeBoy. That's what everybody knows. That's what he built his brand off. Anybody that pays attention to like media outlets and stuff, his whole brand is toxic tweets, whatever it may be. And I'm pretty sure everybody in the industry subscribes to what he puts out. You feel me? Pay attention. They're not ignorant and all that stuff. So that's one thing. But to jump somebody because of that, no matter like I don't. If he was talking stuff after, like yeah, whatever it be, that's a whole different story. But like, come on now.
Yeah. Hey man, some niggas just be on go, bro.
I respect Quavo for it.
You say you respect. What do you respect him for it though?
I respect him for it.
Should you be mad? Should you be more mad at them or your girl for putting herself in that situation? Not saying like into a physical altercation, but I'm saying like
yeah, but that's
addressing the situation.
But that's what I'm saying though. He can't put his hands on the girl. It's like you in the street and you with a dude and his girl starts talking reckless. You can't put your hands on a girl because of principle. So you're just gonna trash the next best thing, which is his man.
I understand that, but in the same aspect, but if you catch your girl cheating, you're gonna be mad at your girl. You're gonna be firing off on the bull.
I'm trashing the bull too because I'm angry. I'm trashing the bull too, but I'm gonna be angry at the girl. That don't mean I'm gonna get back with the girl.
Why are you trashing?
Why are you trashing the bull? Be mad at your girl. You don't know the bull
because you a god. No, here's the thing. No. We're not doing this. No.
Any bull that has a girl coming at him, whether she got a man or not, and she's throwing that pussy at him, he gonna hit no matter what the fuck.
That's facts. But the thing is, and this is my thing with people. But this is what makes me mad about people. People do this, and people be acting like, oh, I know that you had a girl, or I know he had a man, or she had
Sometimes
a man. Bro, you know the signs when somebody's in a relationship, bro. You like let's be hold on. No.
You gotta go point there, though.
No, I don't know. Listen, let me listen. So, I'm gonna give you a scenario. I'm gonna give you a hypothetical scenario. Okay. You pop out on the scene, whatever it may be. You pop out on the scene, right? We out on the guys and whatever. A group of girls, they out on the girls now. You know what I'm saying? Everybody's just vibing, having a good time. You don't know anybody from Adam. You don't know anybody. You start clicking with a joint. Y'all been saying y'all been drinking, turning up, whatever it may be. Y'all start clicking. And then y'all just hit it off. And after that, y'all take it to the next level that same night. Y'all do what y'all to do. And that is that. You may not discuss anything. You might just been vibing that night. And what happened. Do you know she has a boyfriend? No.
Definitely not in that situation. Definitely not. Definitely not in that situation.
That's what I'm trying to say. Like, not every time. And then say that same night that you doing what you're doing with the girl you met in the spot. Oh, her boyfriend has just been tapped in because he knows she has a girls' night, whatever it may be. He on some overly protective stuff. He going to tap in. Oh, I'm pulling up on you. She don't see it because y'all in the middle of what y'all doing. He pull up. See you walk out the room. What you doing? And you think he gonna rumble you? Like,
yeah.
Not necessarily. Like I'm saying, if you're in that situation, you gonna rumble the bull. If you don't even know him from Adam, and she don't. First off, like, how do y'all know each other? That's the first question I'd be. How do y'all? What's going on here?
Yeah.
So my thing is my thing is with girl. I'm not gonna speak for girl.
What?
Yeah, you can't speak for females. You can't. You can't.
I can't. I'm not gonna speak for females and put words. But all I can say,
you don't even have to. You can reverse it and put yourself in that scenario. You feel me?
Because bulls do the same shit.
Because my thing is, if a girl's talking to me, there's certain signs that girls give off, and there's certain signs that guys give off that they either unavailable, they don't want to do this.
Not all the time, bro.
I'm telling you, unless they do this on the regular, and they used to getting their cheeks clapped out like that on the regular, bro, there are signs.
There are signs. Don't get me wrong, but I'm saying not all the time, bro. In a scenario like that, bro.
Especially not the night in the club. You're not even thinking about whether she got a man or not, because you thinking she already moving single in the club. You're not thinking about do she got a man or not. You thinking about how I'm going to hit this tonight.
And
these girls,
think about you, a person like you a bull, bro. Like you've been in the scene, bro. You know how them interactions go down, bro. You're not even.
That's why, bro. This is why. All right, I'm not. All right, I'm gonna tell you a story, right? I'm gonna tell you a story about how my dumbass. I was being a dumbass. I was talking to a girl, right? She had said some things. Along the lines of, "I'm done with my ex-boyfriend. I'm not talking to him. This, that, and the third. But we still check in here and there." What does that sound like to you?
Bro, that's obviously that's a whole different scenario. That's a sign.
But I'm saying it. But I'm saying this. I met her at a brunch function. Talking about, oh yeah, I don't talk to him. We done. Yada yada yada. Okay, cool. Come to find out, another shorty that I know come and tell me, oh yeah, she's still with her man.
Bro, how many times have you had conversations though where you don't even ask those questions? Is what I'm trying to say.
My nigga, I don't do that. I ask those questions.
Not every, bro. When you was you was not asking those questions every single time, bro.
I don't ask those questions to every single girl you talk to, bro.
I don't ask the question directly like, oh, you got a man. But I phrase what I'm saying in such a way where I'll know if she has a man or not. Like,
what do you say? Yeah, give us the game.
I'll say something, yada yada yada. I'm like, oh yeah, your man let you out the house like this. That's when girls are like, oh nah, I'm single, I'll do what the fuck I want, or it's a hot girl summer, I'm free to do what I want, or nah, he don't control me, or nah, he don't do this and this. And that's how I know, because that keeps me protected mentally. Imagine me now. Imagine me now. Oh yeah, my man, I dress however I want. That's a girl who don't care what her man think and don't respect what her man think. So because I already know that, of course I could smash, but mentally I need to protect myself. Imagine me smashing somebody else's girlfriend. That's bad karma for me. Next, you know, I'm smoking, I'm dropping the blunt 3-4 times.
It's not. I'm not saying it's bad karma. I'm not disregarding anything you're saying, but I'm just being real and saying every time we done popped out, or every time you done popped out, you're not asking those clarifying questions all the time. Because sometimes you just in the scene living. You feel me? And it just happens.
And the majority of motherfuckers at the end of the day don't give a fuck about that anyway. If a nigga can get his nut off, he gonna get his nut off whether you got a man or not.
And I've seen people wholeheartedly just be blunt and lie and say, nah, bro, I'm not in any type of relationship. You just don't know.
You know what? I was capping. You know,
I know you were.
Yeah, we know you capping, bro.
That's what I'm trying to say.
We know.
Literally just bluntly lie. Like, you know,
it didn't hit my head. It didn't hit my head. I just thought of 3 stories off the top of my head. Now I have forgot about them shits. I'm not gonna do my man's dirt. But all I can say is these girls. You're right. These girls gonna be wild. You know, you're right.
Like, you know, people that do. Like, you feel me? Like, that's almost like, bro. Every time, bro, you're not knowing.
And it
time.
comes from both.
That brings you back to my original question, because we kind of strayed away from it. Are you rumbling a man if you see him with your girl, you shorty? Like, why would you do that?
Yes and no, because I'm gonna be angry. So I'm probably just gonna end up just swinging just because I'm mad off of instinct.
Yeah, I mean, not that I would want to do that, but in that situation, I might be feeling the same type of way. Even though, like, I'm sitting here saying now, nah, I'm not gonna rumble the bull. But in that situation, I walk into my crib and they both in my bed.
Oh, I see the crib.
I might have an issue. I might have a serious issue with that, because you in my spot, my nigga. You in my spot,
bro. That's different. You said the crib. See, if it was your crib, is definitely, that's a whole different. I was just saying you call him walking out of somewhere, whatever it may be, like. on that?
I might not remember him there on the spot because then I might go to jail.
Yeah, I just think it depends on who it is.
So yeah, I might not remember him there on the spot, but it really all depends on the situation.
Nah, same. I just think that I think what a lot of people don't understand is that people are very protective of what's theirs. That's why they end up fighting. Like if you plan a fight, that's stupid. But like if it's in the moment, people definitely people definitely go out of their way to protect what's there. So it's like when you see the instinct of somebody see, like if I walk into a room and see my girl or whatever and see it happen, and it's like if I'm fighting a guy, it's off of instincts of natural, like, yo, like why is this happening? I need to protect my girl. Like most people have that natural, I need to protect what's mine instinct. It's like someone taking something away from you and you fighting for it. That's why it's like people do that. And that's why I said it's like, yeah, people may not run with a person because they're thinking logically in the situation, but some people just react,
Yeah,
and that's why that should be happening. But
agree.
yeah, I mean, but yeah, Quavo and Sweetie, it's
What'd you
So
think?
how do y'all feel? Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna ask about the video that surfaced.
Yeah,
I was gonna
yeah.
say, what'd you? Because
that.
when I first seen like I just seen, you know what I'm saying, somebody quoted that, oh, it's not a good look for Quavo, whatever it may be, and then I looked at the video and I was just like,
That
it's not a good look, but I don't
It's
know.
not a
someone
good
hired.
look. It's not a good look because it doesn't matter what the situation is. It doesn't matter. You can't touch a woman, period, right?
Yeah.
That's why it's a bad look. So, I mean, you can say, oh, it wasn't that bad. It's whatever the case may be. It doesn't matter because you cannot put your hands on a woman, period. And you can see when he looked up and he saw that camera in the corner of the jaw, he was like, fuck.
Let me ask you this before you go. In the video that you see, we all saw the video we put in the chat. Do you think he put his hands on her, or do you think they were fighting over?
I just think I don't think that they were fighting, but I think anytime you touch a female in any sort of physical kind of way like that, even though he was like moving her out the way or taking her hands off or whatever they was both going for, I just think that you just can't touch him in any sort of physical way.
That whole video.
Go ahead.
No, I was gonna say that whole video is capped. That video is old. Like that was hired. It sounds like it was hired by one of them hired a PR firm. One of them hired, and it sounded like it was Quavo. One of them hired a PR firm to do a smear campaign because the whole video, for everybody who didn't see, because y'all clearly didn't see the whole video, Sweetie came, threw some shit, hit him, ran into the elevator. Quavo chased after her because she obviously threw some shit in there that was his. Next thing you know, they fight over what's his. She falls, she hurt her ankle. That's what I was telling y'all. Sweetie hurt her ankle like a year ago. You know, we just thought, she was performing or whatever, something happened. No, that video explained everything. That's why I said it's like this whole video was old. And so for them to now come back and bring it out after a couple of days after you're not the girl I thought you was, yeah. It sounded like Quavo just dropped that shit because she said that he was cheating or some shit happened. And it's like, if that happened a year ago where she acting crazy like that, she put her hands on him, it's a problem. Like the whole video showed she put his hand, she literally put his hands on him, and then he tried to fight for whatever he was trying to get back. That's what I saw. People didn't see it go, oh, Quavo's an abuser. Quavo's assaulter. He's this, he's that. I'm like, no, he's not. Because you could tell when people put their hands on somebody. And you could tell in that particular situation, Quavo don't be putting his hands on her. I don't care what nobody says. Fight me if you want. Argue what you want.
You think Quavo's the one that did the smear campaign because the song that dropped after, or what?
Yeah, I think Quavo hired a PR firm to do the smear campaign to drop that video, or he paid to get that footage and someone dropped it, because it doesn't make sense that Sweetie got all that. He said that he cheated. That backlash happened to Quavo. The next thing you know, this happened. It's like he got the bad. He looked like the bad guy in the situation. So you need to even that out. And it's like dropping that video. If you watch the full footage, it shows that Quavo is not 100% the bad guy. Am I condoning cheating? No. But what I am saying is that neither of them shouldn't have put their hands on either one of them. Like, they both look childish. They both look stupid. They need to grow the fuck up and go to therapy.
Yeah, I agree. It definitely looked toxic. And, she shouldn't be putting her hands on him either. You know what I mean? A lot of times when anybody puts their hands on you, your automatic reaction is to react. Mm-hmm. But you gotta think about that shit. And I just think that, because look, for me, I'll say I don't want to be on camera or video even looking like I push my girl out the way or anything like that. I don't want it at all. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just one of them things where you better off, much, much better off, not putting your hands on a woman no matter what, even if she is punching you and hitting you, because if you retaliate and strike back, you're gonna be the one that looks bad because it's not a fair fight.
I agree. And how just as much as videos can be deceiving, they can be very true as well. And that just brings me into the case that's going on with George Floyd and Derek Chauvin. How do you pronounce his name? Chauvin.
Yeah.
So I don't
Chauvin.
care.
Yeah,
I
not
don't
that you
really
care.
care, but yeah.
And
This shit is
and
already getting on my nerves.
no, it's getting crazy because I've been watching the kids. I know you guys have probably been watching different clips. Have been tuned in during the week and the video aspect. It's just the thing that gets me is there's no way possible that this guy should be able to get off for what he did.
He's probably going to jail.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to say. There's no way possible. Like
You see, oh sorry, Mills, finish what you're going to say. I'm
no,
sorry,
you're
my
gonna because
bad.
I was gonna just compare it to not compare it, but like just how he's talking about like the video clips and how videos only show certain things, but also videos can show the full picture if you get the whole picture. You feel me? And when you put it into
Yeah,
the grand scheme of things, because the body cam footage was finally shown leading up before then, and then they showed like cell phone footage and they showed the actual leading up to the death and that whole thing. And it's like, how can this even be in question? And from people looking from the perspectives like us, what do you got? What do you respond?
I think that. So real quick, I think part of the problem with what I started to realize is a lot of people don't understand how court works, so that's why they get upset about things. If you chart, how do I say this? Depending on the charge, if you have first degree murder, second degree murder, third degree murder, manslaughter, those are all three, four completely different cases. And you're less as you raise the degree, you're less likely to get charged for that. People get charged for second or first degree murder. It's very, very hard for you to actually get charged with that as a police officer, whether or not they have racist intent or not. Manslaughter, third degree is very much possible. You know what I'm saying? Because first degree, you need the intent that you're going to kill him. You know what I'm saying? Second degree, there needs to be some type of intent that you were trying to act violent or things that I don't know the degrees outside my head. I just know first degree murder, you need to have the intent that you are going to go kill somebody. So it's like taking that aside, it's like looking at the situation now, the whole thing is that he's more than likely going to have to go to jail. If he doesn't, that's when I'll be pissed because they added third degree murder and they added manslaughter charges. So it's like, y'all covered the bases already. So there has to be a chance he goes to jail, right? And then just looking at the case, it's what irritates me the most is two things. One, how they're trying to label a lot of the black witnesses as aggressive or they don't really remember things. It's number one. And number two, the number one thing is the main reason why they came after George Floyd in the first place. The $20 bill. They came at him over a fake $20 bill and nobody seems to find it.
Where is the
Nobody
20?
and nobody has answered those questions since. Nobody knows where the $20 bill is. It's became trying to discredit everybody, but it's like you came for a $20 bill, you can't find a $20 bill. So you couldn't find a counterfeit $20 bill. So why did you do what you did? Simple.
Yeah.
And like that's all I can say about it. Like you're trying to label black men about the same thing that y'all been trying to tell us last year that you're not trying to do the labels as aggressive, and you're doing it right now in the middle of court, right?
Mhm.
And now number two, the same reason is y'all did this over a fake $20 bill that nobody has found or nobody has seen, and y'all still are trying to make a case for why y'all needed to do what y'all needed to do. That's what I'm saying. It's
Yeah,
just
it's wild. For
I don't
me,
have any
like
other words for that.
it's sad because like watching a trial, you're constantly seeing the video over and over again. So I haven't seen it really in a long, long time. So then you see it again and it takes you back to that moment of them kneeing on this man's neck and killing him and just looking like they don't give a fuck. Period. Kneeling on his neck, just looking around, not responding to the people. And I'll piggyback off what Tobe said about them trying to discredit the black witnesses, like the one man that they interviewed that you could hear in the video saying, fuck you and
Yeah, it
touch
was a
me like
jiu-jitsu
that.
guy or
And they're
whatever.
like, oh, do you think you were getting angry and angry? He like, yeah. And I'm like, no shit, he was getting fucking angry and angry. He watching somebody get fucking killed, and you police officers who are supposed to be protecting and serving, acting like I don't give a fuck about the welfare of this man's life, as he's saying that he can't breathe on the ground. So no shit, I'm gonna be there getting fucking irritated. And I think like this whole court shit is bullshit. It's all bullshit. And if this man doesn't get convicted and go to jail, it's gonna be what was happening in March. It's gonna be round two, bro.
It's going to be
It's going to be
worse.
round 2, and it's going to be worse. And then
And this
people
is
across the country are going to act like they don't understand why it's going on, which is going to
and this
piss people off too.
and this is part of the reason why, outside of like other personal reasons, it's why I've been drawn to wanting to be a lawyer. Like, this shit irritates me to no end, where it's like I see people that don't look like me come up and try to discredit black men and try to discredit why they're angry, why they're this. But every single white man that has shot up a movie theater or shot up a club or shot up a school, they can be troubled. They can not have a good day. You know,
Like the boy recently.
yeah, like he just had a bad day. He had a sex addiction. He had this. He was an incel. And it's like, as a black man, I'm just angry because I'm angry. I'm not allowed to, like, and this is where I get so upset, because it's like, you're a prosecutor. You see how you treat us. You know the bullshit that y'all do behind the scenes, but I'm not allowed to be angry. You know that a lot of courts send people to jail deliberately. They do all these different things to people that look like us, that are the same gender as us, but you don't know why we're angry. But we're just angry to be angry. We were raised angry. We were these types of people that we were raised to be aggressive. We're the aggressors. Oh, and it's like, you never really seem to actually understand where this anger is coming from. You don't understand why we feel pain. Anger is not a primary, I said this before, anger is not a primary feeling. It's a response feeling. You're first hurt, then you get angry. Just like I said before about Quavo, if you see somebody you cheat on, you're going to be hurt, and then you're going to be angry. So your response to you being hurt is your anger. This is why when we go and we talk about people that live in not the best situations, people that live in the hood, I understand why they're angry. You in a situation where you don't feel like you can get out, and you hurt from shit that's happened. You've probably seen your mans get killed. Your mom has to work. Your dad has been thrown out the system. Your mans has been thrown out the system. People that you care about are getting hurt, and it hurts you. And you feel like you have to hurt other people. Your response is you're angry because all these people are hurt, and all I can do is be hurt. But people don't know why. But we get up on court and see another man that looks like us, that could be potentially that man's age, get killed and get suffocated for 9 minutes. And we're just angry because we're angry. Right. We're just aggressive because we're aggressive. There shouldn't be any reason why. The police did what they had to do.
There's no such thing as racism and all that shit. Black people aren't oppressed and all that, that whole fucking narrative. And like I said, if the man doesn't get convicted, it's going to be fucking crazy.
Bro, I'm documenting everything. I don't care, bro. If this is a situation where he really doesn't get manslaughter or third-degree murder, bro, whatever happens to this country at this point,
murder, because I think that was intentional.
Happens.
Yeah.
I think it was intentional. And based off your emotional, dealing with emotions and stuff like that, this is something I thought about. I wanted to bring it up at the beginning of the pod too, but I'm happy that it kind of came at this moment in time. Do you think us seeing things like this and dealing with things like this has taught us to learn how to control our emotions, but not necessarily deal with them?
It just taught us how to just. Sorry, you can go, Shan.
No, I think we try to control our emotions better, like in a situation like that. But I think even now, I think a lot of times when you're in the situation itself, I think it's very, very hard to really, really control yourself.
Let me rephrase it before you answer it, because my mindset is this: I feel as though, like, as a people, just in society and stuff like that, we've come to the point where we learn how to control our emotions to the aspect where we won't put on a certain front so people don't see how we truly feel. You feel me? But then it gets to a certain point that we've learned how to control them so much when stuff like this happens, we don't know how to deal with them. And what I mean by deal with them is, like, when you become extremely angry, you don't know how to deal with that emotion because you just learn how to control. You suppress it and put it to the side so people don't see that you're feeling a certain way. Why do you think that affects us in the long run as a whole, and why do you think that we've become conditioned this way?
Yes,
that makes more sense.
It makes perfect sense. I think that we've been learned to. It sounds really weird, but this is all social media's fault. And I say this because because of how social media is, because we're so quick to read statuses for 2-3 seconds, we're so quick to see pictures for 5 seconds. We've been so conditioned to react to our emotions very quickly and then just move on. It's like, okay, you see a girl with a fat ass. Oh, she look good. You get horny for 3 seconds. Move on. You see a social media post. George Floyd. Oh my gosh, 8 minutes. Da 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 da. You're upset. You cry. You move on. Oh, somebody got married. Oh my gosh, so happy. You move on. You see how quickly you've went through 3-4 different emotions in like less than 20 minutes. You don't learn how to process your emotions because we've been home. We've sat in a situation where we've been so quick to feel different emotions. Everything is just okay. Feel, disregard. Feel, disregard. Feel, disregard. And that's how we've been conditioned now to the point where it's like, okay, going back to the same situation now. If you see a man get cheated, if you see someone that you care about doing something that doesn't make you happy, feel, oh my gosh, you disregard. We haven't learned as human beings now to sit with our feelings and process them and why we feel this way, how this applies to our life, and what patterns is this reoccurring to. We've just been learned to be in a cycle of emotions and just deal with it. And then we log off and then we just shut off our emotions. But then now when we're in a situation where you're meeting people, say for example, who know how to process their emotions, say they're angry, they know how to be angry, know how to do this. It's like you've never dealt with this type of person, never dealt with these type of emotions because you're not used to it. You're used to dealing with emotions for 5-6 seconds. That's why it's like this generation it's easy for everybody to just sleep with each other and disappear because we don't process our emotions. Oh, I got my nut. See you next week. And that's just what it is. When we learn how to sit down and deal with some uncomfortable feelings that we may not be ready for, or things that'll make us grow, then we can get to you to answer your question, which is, yeah, we need to be able to help society do that. We're in a society now where it's like people just everything's just disregarded. Nobody really cares, you know? And that's just how I look at it. I don't know, man.
No, that was a good point. I agree.
No, that was definitely a good point. I just want to hear your thoughts because something like I even personally do. I'm sure we all deal with it. Like when it comes to like controlling, we feel something, we want to control it so we can suppress it and not have to necessarily process and deal with it, and then just sits there and just lingers. You feel me? It just lingers. It lingers. It builds up until something like triggers you, and then now everything that's built up, all the different emotions that you have that are built up right here, that are just sitting there, you don't know which one's gonna pop out. Like you could cry, you could be blast out like somebody else, whatever it may be, but something triggers it so much where now you can't even hold it back no more. And then when it breaks through, you don't know how to deal with it because we never really deal with our emotions. We just compartmentalize it and just keep it going. But that was just the thought I had, and it kind of like touched on everything else. And the last thing I want to touch on that was put everybody in uproar. Was Lil Nas X.
Oh, I forgot all about that.
It's my time to shine.
Yeah, tell us a little about what happened with that, too, and then we'll go into it and get everybody's thoughts on the situation.
So basically, Lil Nas X dropped a music video called Montero, Call Me by My Name, and it showed some, I guess what Christians will call very graphic imagery of Lil Nas X, dancing on what was the devil. And people got upset because later on he now dropped shoes, which he's getting sued for, with a creative company called Mischief. The shoes is handwritten with blood, with human blood. It has the star of Satanism on there, and yeah, people are in outrage because Actually, I'm gonna let y'all talk before I give my stuff. But yeah, what do y'all think about it?
Minus thoughts are just based over that. I mean, I don't subscribe to that stuff, so I mean, it's not something I would buy personally. But the outrage that I heard about it was more so from parents who know their kids subscribe to Lil Nas X and say that he was making quote unquote children's music. He's appealing to the child demographic, which he even said that he makes songs for kids when he first came out. And now that he's kind of transitioned, has that whole, I call it the little cult following with the kids with the Old Town Road. Probably millions of kids just sing that and are Lil Nas X fans because of that. Now the parents that allow their kids to listen to Old Town Road and know their kids subscribe to it are mad because he's pushing these narratives on the kids, and his music is not supposed to be this graphic or whatever it may be. So I understand their point of view when they're talking about, oh, he shouldn't be making this music, but at the same time, he's an artist. He can make whatever he wants to do. It's your job as a parent to, all right, you're not allowed to listen to this. You're not allowed to subscribe to this, whatever it may be. You can't tell the artist not to make this music because it doesn't appeal to your child. Like you don't go into like Nike or a food restaurant and say, oh, you guys can't make this food because, or this product because it doesn't appeal to my child. You know what I'm saying? Like it's something they'll consciously make the decision on because it's their product in the day, and they're gonna make what they want to make. So that's what I got out of it. And I mean, I see the upper understand with why people are all in arms about it, but at the end of the day, it's like
I don't.
Did y'all watch the video?
I'm not so. Yeah,
I watched it. The shit was hilarious.
I understand. Like
it was crazy.
Like, it is what it is to me. At the end of the day, I'm not surprised.
To me, it is what it is too. I mean, like you said, I don't. The whole thing with the fucking human blood and the devil shit is not my cup of tea. So I don't give a fuck about it. I mean, it's definitely not something kids should be seeing. I mean, I won't want my kids looking at shit like that.
Yeah.
Not at a young age, because that I feel like could probably really confuse the fuck out you as a kid. Because kids, especially with today's technology, they start doing research and looking shit up. You know where kids' fucking minds go. So the whole thing with the fucking Nike shit is the only thing that I was concerned about with the situation, because you got a corporation like that coming after you, you're gonna take an L.
I think Nike allowed it to happen.
I think Lil Nas X knew what he was doing, putting out this video. He knew motherfuckers was gonna watch it, doing a deal with them sneakers. He knew motherfuckers was gonna pay attention to it. And if you saw his reaction video he put up, he said how he felt in like 2 seconds. Then the rest of it was his video, was the music video of him giving a devil a lap dance or whatever the case may be.
I think Nike. The only reason Nike says something about it is because they started getting backlash. There wasn't nothing like didn't care, bro.
They thought it was affiliated with them. Yeah.
Oh, look at this shoe. Look at this shoe, whatever it may be. Like,
so I get that point. I looked at it from a Christian perspective because I saw a lot of Christians. Oh my gosh, he's talking about the devil. Oh my gosh, he loves Satan. It's like this is my biggest problem with it, and it's not everyone's fault, but this is where me as a Christian, I would appreciate if pastors stopped preaching the nonsense that they preach on Sundays. Because my thing is that if you read your Bible, you know that Satan and Lucifer are two people. They can be two different people, and Lucifer can be Satan, but Satan doesn't equal Lucifer, if that makes sense.
Explain it.
So the story of Satan isn't the same story as Lucifer. Satan was a guy that was introduced in the story of Job, and he was introduced as a guy who came to God when God was talking to people, and he was like, oh, I don't think Job would still, appreciate you, worship you if, you took away everything from him. That's why God originally took everything away from Job, to see what he would do. It was a test for Job. So now looking at it now, it's a Sunday and it's Easter. I'm preaching. Whew, whew. Anyways, but on a serious note, like Satan was there, and the term Satan, I think it might be Hebrew, and it translates to the accuser. It doesn't necessarily mean, it's not Lucifer. Anybody can be Satan, which is why like the term get behind me, Satan. It's talking about the devil. You know what I'm saying? It's just talking about an individual who is accusing you of something. Anybody can be Satan in your life. You can be Satan in your life. You know what I'm saying? The difference between Lucifer is that Lucifer was an angel of God. And the issue with Lucifer was that Lucifer had a pride issue. He wanted to be the greatest angel of all. And so God punished him and banished him. And even in like common mythology, he's known as the light bringer. That's what his name means. So it's like, for people who don't know, a lot of churches preach Lucifer and Satan as the same person, but they're not the same person. People look at the mark of the beast, the 666 number. It's not, because it's like on the sixth day, Jesus made humans. So there's a lot of different things that people just assume because they've seen certain things. They just assume that everything's equated to the devil. And people don't read their Bibles enough for them to go out and understand that. If you read your Bible to and through, instead of just listening to the pastor, did your research, you would understand that. And that's why I was like, when I was looking at everybody, it's like, Satanism, I'm not saying Satanism is this thing. I don't know anything about Satanism, but for me, if you're studying the concept of Satan, it's about accusing. And the small research I did, that's basically what it did. It was basically exposing the light of certain things and certain religious organizations, Christianity, things of that nature, because that's what Satan was. He was an accuser. That's all he is.
So was Lil Nas X, was he wrong? Should he have made that music, or do you think he's allowed?
It doesn't. I think he's allowed to make that music. I mean, I'm sorry for ranks, but it's like, he's free to do whatever he wants. He's a creative. Like, I get it where people would have looked at it a wrong way because they may not know all that information, but it's like, at the end of the day, it's his music. The same way that everybody was upset about WAP, this, that, and the third, Cardi B's free to WAP. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? She's free. She made WAP. I don't give a
I
shit.
just don't get what the whole why they were bashing him so, like, I just don't get why they were bashing him so much.
Yeah,
Because
I don't care about it either. I mean, just because it doesn't appeal to me, that man, he's a grown ass man. He can make whatever kind of music he want to make. Joe Schmo on the street can make a song about whatever the fuck they want to make a song about. You know what I'm saying? Just because it doesn't appeal to me, it is what it is.
Because my thing is too, like, since we're in the hip hop genre that we're talking about, we want to be real. Like, all the stuff that people talk about in their music, not everybody subscribes to everything that's being talked, where it's killing people, it's doing drugs, messing with girls, whatever it may be. Not everybody subscribes to that, but people don't complain about it.
It's because people, it's outrage culture and it's uncomfortability culture. When people get uncomfortable, people bring out their true colors. When people are outraged by something, their true colors come out. It goes back to this thing that Jordan Peterson has talked about in his book 12 Rules for Life. It's about, you have to find order in chaos, right? And what he means by that is you have to find a way to mentally find a way to mentally figure things out yourself, right? And so when people look at hip hop, people associate hip hop and rap, drugs, killing, women, sex, etc., money. That's okay. That's fine. That's something I'm accustomed to. I'm used to hearing that. When you see Lil Nas X come out and he's twerking on Satan, oh my gosh, it's the devil. I'm not accustomed to seeing that. It's scary. I see a gay man dancing on the devil. Oh my gosh, I'm not accustomed to that. Oh my gosh, I see Satan.
Let me stop you right there.
Oh my gosh.
Right there. I think that's the problem more so than
when you bring religion
devil
into it.
It's not even, but they see a homosexual man grinding on the devil.
And he takes the horns and becomes the devil himself.
I think that's the problem that people have with it more so than quote unquote just the devil aspect.
But you can't really be mad at him because it's like,
I'm not mad at it. I'm just saying I think that's what people have an issue with. Like, I think it's based on the undertones and people's, like, what people were talking about. Like, all right, yeah, you mad at the devil, but the undertones, you see a guy grinding on another guy. I think that's
like, undertone. I'm not talking about you per se, like you. I'm talking about you as people. Like, people are upset because it's like, you can't really be upset because it's like, think about it. People since whatever day, and we've talked about this before, I'll bring it back again. Everybody is okay with a homosexual in church until he brings his gay partner to church. Everybody, like, when are you uncomfortable with the gay man in church? Like, that's the question people need to ask. When are you uncomfortable with the sinner in church? Are you uncomfortable with the hooker in church when her legs are closed? Or are you uncomfortable when she's wearing what you would consider provocative clothing? Are you uncomfortable with the gay man when he's doing praise and worship for y'all? Or are you uncomfortable when he's sitting next to his boyfriend or his partner in church? Are you uncomfortable with the alcoholic when he doesn't have the alcohol in his hand or not? And it's like, those are the questions a lot of people have to start asking themselves. People have made so much, a lot of churches have made so much money. They've made so much clout on essentially disrupting how people think about people who sin differently than you. And now they're all of a sudden upset when those same sinners who sin the same as you have that same power to now influence the people that you're afraid that are going to get transformed. But you're not even doing the right thing to keep those people in church in the first place. Y'all chastise Lil Nas X for being a gay man. Y'all, as Christians, and I take responsibility for it too. We sat here and we disrespected him as a lover, as a brother in Christ. So I can't be mad at Lil Nas X if he's doing that when in the first place we never welcomed him into being a Christian. And that's the thing. Like, and that's where I said, read your Bible. Like, I know I'm ranting a little, but it's like, the Bible speaks on respect, loving your neighbor as yourself, respecting people. And we can't even do that as Christians in this modern day. Anytime a Christian is uncomfortable, we have to let it know what it says in the Bible. And you take this and you still take that shit out of context. It doesn't make sense to me. It's just, I don't know, man.
I get you. What you were saying was factual, and we won't close on that. We're gonna let the listeners leave on that and think about it. And when we come on next episode, we're gonna continue and see how stuff kind of unfolds in, like, the different cases that we talked about, because we talked about a lot of different things that are still transpiring, and we want to see how it plays out. So that's all I got for episode 58. 59 gonna be a good one too, because it's gonna be the aftermath of what we talked about pretty much. And I think
we coming down to the wire here.
I know,
bro.
the season almost done already. It's just crazy to me. It went by, this season kind of went by like that for me. I don't know why.
Not facts.
It went by quicker than normal. Maybe because we're a little more active and we're not just, because I felt as though, I'm not gonna go on a rant, but I felt as though, like, last season we were more confined, so we're probably just waiting. All right, when's this day? Because we talk about something, whatever it may be. Now stuff's kind of
facts.
moving,
Facts. Good point. It's a good point.
But That's all I got for this episode. You guys got anything else? Or you good?
I'm good, man.
That's episode 58 of the
Nah.
Face of the Future podcast. It's your boy Mills.
It's your boy Shan.
It's your boy Mesa Moose.
Peace.